So with my time spent with Monster Hunter Wild, I've kind of gauged which monsters I like, which monsters I dislike, and which ones are very passable. So this is just a tier list of where I feel the base game monsters are. All the entries are going to be very condensed because this would be a very long video if I spent a lot of time fleshing out each monster. Anyway, I'm rambling, let's get into the tier list. So I think Chotacabra is a really good introductory monster. It's not super fast, it's not super aggressive, but it allows you to learn the fundamental mechanics of the game, which is kind of all it needs to do at the very start. Its armor set and its weapons are interesting. I think the armor's better than the weapon's a bit plain, but overall the way it attacks with its tongue, its hands jumping, belly flopping, it's an interesting monster. So I'm going to put that in B. I really like Chemetris. It's not an engaging fight, especially like when you've played other Monster Hunter games or when you've played Monster Hunter Wilds for a while, but it's just a fun fight. It's just a flame chicken. It pecks, it throws flame off its tail and all this stuff with sparks. It's a really cool design. I'm not a big fan of the Hunter armor sets, but the Palico armor set goes hard, so I'm going to put that in B. The only thing stopping Lala Barina from being in S tier for me is the fact that it's so quick and easy to stagger and knock down. That's basically the entire fight, and it's such a shame as well because its design is amazing and its attacks are really creepy crawly, which I really liked. And when it does the blossom paralysis flowers, like, it's just such a sight. So it's actually such a shame that it has just no capability to stand up when it's actually in a fight. Which I find really ironic really, because it's the weapon that I focused using the most throughout the game. Its armor set's also really cool, but it was the weapon that I more gravitated towards. So with that, I'm going to put Lala Barina in A tier. The funny fart monkey himself, Congalala. I think the mushroom stuff is really interesting. The fact that whichever mushroom it consumes can inflict a different ailment onto you. I think that's a really interesting idea. But I just dislike this monster. It's not a fun fight, it's boring, it's very straightforward, simple, and it's essentially just avoid the farts and the burps and the body slams. That's kind of all it comes up to. Or comes down to. I think its armor set's cool, and its weapon's alright. It's just, nah, it's not it for me. It's going in C tier. The Hunter and Palico armor saved this monster from being put in F tier. Balahara I don't think is a fun fight. It's got some fun things that it does, going under sand, spitting black goo on you, everyone loves that, but it's the fact that just there isn't really anything else to it after you've seen it once. I'm not a big fan, and I feel like the cinematics really make this monster look cooler than it is, but for me, Balahara is just going to have to go into C tier. I really enjoyed that Doshaguma had like an alpha variant and had a pack around it as well. I thought it was kind of engaging to make you have to use a dung pod to get rid of the other Doshagumas to actually have a 1v1 with the alpha, which unfortunately is where the problem kind of starts. Doshaguma can be a really fun and engaging fight where it cycles through its combos and really keeps you on your toes. But more often it just kind of throws out the same attacks and becomes a really dull fight. But a saving grace is the fact that it has a really cool barbaric kind of armor set for the Palico and the Hunter. So I'm going to put this in B tier. Rumpolo is going in B tier. Unfortunately, you see all of its attacks, all of its moves within the first minute or two, and it's just really underwhelming, unfortunately. I will say its armor set is really cool. I love the male version of it. It's just like a plague doctor, and I think it's a great armor set. Ajarakan is probably one of my favourite additions to Monster Hunter Wilds. It just has so much potential, and I'm really looking forward to what it can actually do in Master Rank, because it's already got all these throwing hands kind of attacks, and when it's in Rage it has even more variety of things it could be throwing your way. So I'm 100% putting Ajarakan in A tier. Hirobami is probably my least favourite monster in the whole of Monster Hunter Wilds. It's in the air way too long, and yes, you could use slinger ammo or flash pods to get it on the ground. It's not the point. It's in the air way too much. It's boring to fight. It's dull. Its armor set's pretty cool, but at the same time that doesn't save it. And yeah, get this tapeworm in F tier. Unsure if anyone will agree with me on this, but I think Rathalos and Rathian, this is probably their best iteration. Like, I'm really happy with how they actually work in Monster Hunter Wilds. Rathian is obviously more ground based and like has its like sweeping attacks where it jumps up into the sky, and Rathalos flies a lot more. but at the same time I really enjoy how they work. I'm not huge on either of their armor sets, but at the same time they are kind of what you expect them to be. So I'm going to be putting Rathalos and Rathian in A tier. When I first encountered Gravios, I was really worried that it was going to be one of those monsters where most of my attacks would bounce off if I didn't have max sharpening. That's not something you really need to worry about by the time you actually encounter it, but at the same time it was there. But this has one of the most hype attacks, as it hyper beams fire towards you or at the ground close to itself. Personally, its weapons and its armor set don't really do anything for me, but I think it deserves to go in B tier. I really like that Nerscylla was brought back for Monster Hunter Wilds, but a reason for why it's not higher up in the tier list is because it's so slow. I feel like its attacks don't carry any real speed to them, and the ones that do aren't quick enough. I don't know, I feel like creepy crawly enemies should be much faster than this. So I'm going to put Nerscylla in B tier. Blangonga is just going straight in F tier. It's the worst monkey in the game. It's not really that interesting. It's a very boring fight, especially seems to it's later on in the game you actually fight it, and yeah, I just don't think it's got any redeeming qualities. The armor set's not that great and neither is the weapon, so yeah, Blangonga is going in F tier. Also, it ruined the Gore Magala introduction. Guardian Doshaguma loses all of the cool things that make Doshaguma worth the fight. There's no alpha variant and it doesn't hunt in a pack. Yeah, it has the Wilk attack where it kind of explodes from the ground, and that's cool and all, but it's not enough to redeem it up to B tier, so I'm going to put Guardian Doshaguma in C tier. These next two entries really hurt me to do, but Guardian Ebony Odogaron and Guardian Fulguranjanath are both going in B tier, and very similar to some of the other monsters, they just don't carry the threat or speed that they really should be doing. And I think this is down to the fact that I fought them in Master Rank on Monster Hunter World, and these are two of my favourite monsters, which kind of sucks because you're fighting a lesser version of them. They both have awesome weapons and armor sets, and I have no doubt that they'll be higher up in the tier list if it was at Master Rank, but at low rank or high rank, these monsters just don't do it for me, so yeah, B tier. Unlike Guardian Doshaguma, Rathalos and Guardian Rathalos are almost identical, with the Guardian Rathalos having the Wilk attacks, so it's already an A tier monster with a different kind of attack added on, so I'm going to be putting Guardian Rathalos in A tier. Guardian Arkveld is a one-off fight. Its move pool is limited, but at the same time its armor is much better than the normal Arkveld. It's the pulsating white hue that kind of goes through it. Plus the attacks that it actually has access to are kind of interesting. It has the sling kind of Spider-Man drag as it pulls itself towards you, and it has the Wilk explosion attacks, which also add. I wouldn't say it's better than the normal Arkveld, but it certainly is interesting. So I'm going to put it in A tier. I can't stand Gypceros. The constant flashbangs, the poison, the running, the rubber tail, it's a super interesting monster, but at the same time I'm just not interested in fighting it. Every time I have to, I can't be bothered. But yeah, it's going in F tier. I think Zoo is one of the most interesting new additions, and it's a shame that it's the second monster like this, as Nu Udra kind of steals the thunder being the first introduced. I will say it was awesome fighting Ebony Odogaron and then instantly dragged into a fight with Zoo right after. I really like the armor for the Hunter and the Palico because it just reminds me of like Prince of Persia, but sadly Zoo doesn't have a weapon for Charge Blade, which was the weapon I made, so unfortunately it's going in A tier. Young Kutku is not really a monster I enjoy. It's kind of like a lesser Rathalos with this frantic running around and throwing fire out. I wasn't a big fan. The only reason it's not in F tier though is the fact that its Palico armor is adorable, and if you use dual blades then you can get maracas as weapons. I thought that was really cool, so yeah, for me I'm going to be putting Young Kutku in C tier. I'll start with the pros for Nu Udra, as this tentacle alien monster has a really sleek design as the monster, and that translates really well over to the weapons and the armor set. And I feel like this is kind of a reoccurring thing, but it's just slow. And for the 20 times that I fought it, I felt like its other limbs weren't moving as much. It really focused on directly looking at me to attack and not using its other appendages. And this really dragged Nu Udra down for me, so it's going in B tier. Without a shadow of a doubt, Rey Dau is my favourite monster in all of Monster Hunter Wilds. how it visually looks, the sounds it makes, the weapons that it creates, and just its overall attack pool as well. I love this monster, and I feel like the only negative thing about it is its armor set. I'm just not a fan. I don't like it at all. But that doesn't change the fact that Rey Dau as a monster itself is phenomenal. And so I'm putting Rey Dau in S tier. Udra is going in C tier. I don't care. It's a big blobby mess that just belly flops everywhere and creates waves. Ooh, there's water everywhere. Super scary. It doesn't really have anything redeeming about it other than it comes in inclemency, which means that there's a downpour when it arrives. That's the only thing, and yeah, I don't feel like the armor or the weapons really save it enough to put it into B tier, so it's sticking in C. Ginder is the most imposing of the apex predators. This monstrous sized leviathan breathing ice around it, and its armor as well, as if it's got this kind of Mad Max vibe of metal all over it. I really enjoyed Ginder and really enjoyed its armor set as well. So I'm going to put Ginder in A tier. Okay, don't hate me, but Gore Magala's going in S tier. I don't really care. The Mr. Sinister vibe that it gives off, the dark miasma that falls off its wings, and when it enrages and its purple horns come out and the purple hue glows through it. I love this monster. I love the armor, but the weapons are just a bit too edgy for me. They're very skull and bones and death and frenzy. It's just not for me, and like some people will love it, some people won't, and like I just fall into the latter, but the monster itself, it's deserving of being an S tier. While Arkveld may be lacking the glowy hue of its Guardian counterpart, it more than makes up for that with its impressive move pool. Wilk explosions underneath its attacks may have disappeared, but the menacing red explosive energy that courses through its chains more than make up for this. And I feel like this is the main reason why this monster is the flagship. They thought of some cool attacks, they thought of a really interesting design, that all come together as this kind of symbol of Arkveld breaking the chains of its own fate. It was a construct, it was an extinct monster, and now it's back. So I'm going to put Arkveld in A tier. And last but not least, Zosia. Now this is going off the low rank Zosia fight, and the spectacle, the build up, the music, the entire fight, it's incredible. And Zosia is 100% worthy of going into S tier. And yes, it sucked that we didn't have an armor set or weapons from beating Zosia, but at the end of the day, they've tried to remedy that with Title Update 1, and I'm pretty sure everyone's pretty happy with what they've actually done with that. And that's my tier list. Now this isn't in order of actually how I feel about it, so that's how I would organize them. Now monsters vary from day to day, like depends how I'm feeling of them. Sometimes I'll put them higher, sometimes lower, and that's just kind of how it goes, you know, it's kind of an ever-changing thing. But this was just the base game. I will do a follow-up video on all of the title updates and probably the DLC when that eventually comes out, but at the moment where this stands, it's just the base game. If you agree with the list, if you disagree with the list, let me know in the comments, because, you know, we all have different opinions. Some people love monsters that I hate and vice versa. But thank you for watching the video, I really appreciate it, and I'd love to hear your feedback. Anyway, I hope you have a lovely day and or evening, and I'll catch you next time.